Hello, everybody, my fellow hirelings of House Telvanni. I'm hoping that we are actually live right now. We will find out momentarily if this is working as expected. With my stupid ass hood. Alright, looks like we're live. And indeed, we are live. Let's go. That is an ad. Alright. Hello, my fellow hirelings of House Telvanni. It has been a minute since I have done my previous since I have done my previous live stream. I got a haircut and everything. It's been that long. Yep, I'm live. All right. So, this is going to be another, well, all my streams are going to be pretty, hopefully you can't hear the dog barking outside. So this is going to be another laid back live stream where I'm going to be finished. I don't know if you can hear that dog bark, but it's annoying me now. We are going to be finishing the 36 lessons of Vivec. Master, can you make a video about the Sijic order? Yeah, can you do that? Can you make the video? Do it. Go to work on it right now. Go. No, go. Go. Go make it. Make the fucking video! I would like to apologize. He's not really being that receptive right now. I would like to apologize. This is very unprofessional. Go! You lazy, sociopathic motherfucker. Okay. But yeah, maybe I'll make a video on the Sijic order. We'll see. I have a backlog of like a shit ton of other videos that I'm making, so it will ultimately depend. So yeah. Let me boot up the 36 lessons. Go to well, actually, we'll wait there for a second. Yeah, wait, Daraloth is also streaming at the same time that I am? Yo, tell him I said hi. Can't be here for the whole stream because I got D&D, but I'm excited to learn more. I envy you. I envy you, brother. So, we've been doing this for 3 minutes now. I think we're going to head on in. I'm just hoping that this isn't going to be another 3 hours long and that I'm not going to lose my voice, because that's basically what happened before. I completely didn't lose my voice, but holy shit, I just couldn't speak the rest of the day after that because I just talked and talked and talked, which is live streaming in general, but yeah. So I think we're just going to get into the thick of it now. I'm in the thick of it. So yeah, YouTube viewing, there we are. And that's a Progressive ad. I wish we were sponsored by Progressive. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read it, not actually on the monitor here where it's on, but here where I can see the stream. So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to do a recap, or a recap for me, because it has been like 2 weeks or something. It's been about 2 weeks, and I haven't read any other stuff. Like whenever I did it live, that was the last time I read it. So yeah, we're gonna need to do a recap. Had a funny thought from Marwin. The Nerevarine is a Nord who sees Azura and Ysmir Wolfhearth agree in their dreams over who gets the Nerevarine's allegiance. You want to know something? I'm working on a video right now. Just told him Daraloth says hi back. Aw, hey Daraloth. We're gonna get so fucked up and confused here. But yeah. But going back to Zim the Despot, I'm working on a video now about why playing a Red Guard in Skyrim is actually like perfect from a lore perspective, based on the mentality of a Red Guard and their religious and philosophical beliefs and stuff like that, political beliefs and stuff like that. And I also had the idea for a Nord, making like another video which will happen way later on. But like, why playing a Nord in Morrowind is absolutely perfect. Mostly, and I just had that belief mostly because the Nords are seen as the ancient enemy of the Dunmer, similar to how the orcs are the ancient enemy of the Nords. So I think that would be that'd be really cool. Hello, Neloth. How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. We'll see how I will do once we get like an hour into this. I know I'm not gonna be wearing this the whole time. It's gonna get really fucking hot in here. That door behind this stupid fucker right here, it's gonna have to open because it's gonna get really, really hot in here. So yeah. So I think what we're gonna do first is we are going to recap on exactly what we have read so far so I can make sure I know where I'm going whenever I start on episode 18. Daryloth says he needs help with Sermon 1, lol, for Sotha Seal video he's working on. Doesn't know if he was serious or not. Who knows? Well, I have the whole previous live stream that he can look at. I'll recap it here, so for me, because I don't really remember all that well. So yeah, I'll answer this one. Too bad red guards suck. Red guards are way cooler than you think, my guy. The lore behind red guards is absolutely phenomenal because you know how like there's Kalpas, like there's a previous there's the Elder Scrolls takes place in a current Kalpa, the current world. Well, the red guards are actually from the previous Kalpa. They survived the wrath of Alduin, also known as Satakal. I don't know why I'm here. They survived the wrath of Satakal or Alduin and were able to jump to the next Kalpa. So Redguard, and that's just a piece of Redguard lore right there. The fact that they survived the fucking end of the world. So that's just a piece. There's way more about Redguards and why the Redguards are kind of, I think they're like my third or fourth favorite race in the Elder Scrolls. They're never going to be number 1 or 2 because they're not expanded on at all. And I think ESO does a pretty bad job with the Red Guards by making them look like a bunch of bitches that can't handle a bunch of undead in ESO. I never liked that they did that in ESO. I got the concept, but again, it just made them look like a bunch of bitches. So I didn't like ESO's portrayal of the Red Guards, but everything else, like in lore that you read in depth, I think is phenomenal. And I really do need to play the Elder Scrolls Redguard. I have it on Steam. I can play it anytime I want. I just haven't done that yet. Maybe I'll do it live. Maybe I'll just make a whole ass video on it. That's another thing I have thought of. All right. I'll read one more question and we're going to get into it. So I apologize if I skip your question. Now off the question. I don't know if it's just me that thinks this, but every kingdom holds a divine in higher standard than others. For example, Talos for the Nords and Akatosh for the Imperials. Kind of. It really just depends on the time, because the Nords didn't always worship Talos because they had their Nordic gods. The Imperials, honestly, I would say that the Imperials would worship Talos more, because he was the Emperor. He created the Empire, the Third Empire of Cyrodiil. So I feel it gets weird with that, and one of the main reasons why I don't really give much of a damn about the Stormcloaks, but yeah. So you're not wrong, I would say, but yeah. You're not wrong, but it gets very complicated. I wish we got more Argonian lore. There probably is. I just never really looked into it. I think the Argonians and the Bosmer are like my least favorite, so I've never really explored them, but there is probably a bit of lore on the Argonians, especially dealing with the Hist tree, and that being another thing. The Hist tree also survived in previous Kalpas and existed in this one, so yeah. I think Imperials actually worship Lorcan the most. Yes, I would say, yeah, I would say so. I think they're the only ones that would actually worship Lorcan as Lorcan, or maybe they would worship him as Shazar. Or maybe I'm thinking of the Bretons. Nords, I think, would worship Lorcan the most, but as Shor, but, you know. Anyways, we are going to get into it. God, I need this. I haven't drank water in quite a bit. There we go. All right. So yeah, let us recap on some of this stuff. So basically, Sermon 1 deals with the birth of Vivec and how he came from the Netchman's wife. He was born from the Netchman's wife, but also himself. I don't remember exactly the details behind that, but yeah. um, Sermon 2. Fuck. Trying to re-remember this is actually like incredibly difficult. I know that it's gearing up for the Battle of Red Mountain. I think that's what this is all like leading towards. Vivec went like on his own little excursion until he was on a caravan with Indoril Nerevar, and then he made his way to Sothasil and Am. He had some fraternization with Molag Bal. There's this. These were the days of Resdania, when the gods of Veloth would retreat unto their own to mold the cosmos. The ruling king, and this is what... Who said this? I'm the Sharmat... Oh, wait, no, this is obviously Dagoth Ur. This is Nerevar and Vivec having a conversation together. You know what? I think we're just going to read it from Sermon 18, and we are going to continue. I hope that I'll remember everything else dealing with before Sermon 18. Because if not, this is going to get far more confusing than I was expecting. But yeah, anyways, hang on a second. Let me move this here, and we move this here. There we go. So we can have a read it best. And I don't know why there's an ad. Discover the benefits of having a private tutor. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, yeah. So we are going to be reading Sermon 18. I think I read it in the last live stream, but again, I've forgotten a lot of stuff, so let us read it now. Now Vivec felt that he had taught the Hortator, Nerevar, as much as he could before the war with the Dwemer came. The war... I'm assuming that's the Battle of Red... Well, no, not the Battle of Red Mountain, but a war with the Dwemer. Okay. The warrior poet decided he had to begin his Book of Hours at that point, because the world was about to bend with its age. Vivec entered Mournhold, and announced to Am that he was going to fight 9 monsters that had escaped the Muatra. Muatra meaning... Okay, I think this deals with the birth between Vivec and Molag Bal. So, let me actually... Hold up, am I able to break apart my chat so I can put it on this screen? I don't think so. Anyways, alright, back to this. I will return to deal the last blow. Wait, fuck, I lost track of everything. Okay. Entered Mournhold to fight the 9 monsters that had escaped the Muatra. I will return, he said, to deal the last blow to the Grand Architect of the Dwemer, to kill Lord Kagranak. Am said, out of 9 you will find only 8, though they be mighty. The last is already destroyed by your decision to create the Book of Hours. Vivec understood that Am meant himself. So Vivec is one of the monsters from the altercation that occurred between him and Molag Bal. His doubt made him the sword of the Triune, and so he did not feel shame or fear. Instead, he explained, and these are the words. Can a member of the Invisible Gate, the Tribunal Temple, become so archaic that its successor is not so much an improvement of the exact model, but rather a related model that is just needed more because of the currency of the world's condition? As the mother, you do not have to worry unless things in the future are so strange that even Set cannot understand. Neither does the executioner or the fool. But I am neither, So maybe this is talking about the reclamations that come after the tribunal. I'm not sure, because it talks about the successor of the triune. These ideals are not going to change in nature, even though they may change in representation. But even in the West, the Rainmaker vanishes. Shazar, no one needs him anymore. So that's dealing with Lorcan. In the West, Lorcan is gone. No one needs him. He is a dead god. Excuse me. Can one oust the model not because the model is set according to an ideal, but because it is tied to an ever-changing agenda? Okay. This is what was said to Am when Vivec was whole. The wise shall not mistake this. Am said, "This is why you were born of a Netchman's wife and destined to merge with the simulacrum of your mother." His mother, the Netchman's wife, was placed into a dwarven construct, basically, where he was incubated, which is kind of fucked up when you think about it. Gilled and blended in all the arts of the star-wounded east of Red Mountain, under water and in fire and in metal and in ash, 6 times the wise to become the union of male and female, the magic hermaphrodite, the martial axiom, the sex death of language, and unique in all the middle world. Star-wounded east, what's that? Red Mountain, wait, well, I already knew that, but there was another thing. Yeah, 6 times the wise. Okay, this deals with the 8th sermon. Not exactly sure what of, but okay. Vivec knew then why he would record his Book of Hours. I'm not sure what the Book of Hours is. This sermon is forbidden. In this world and others, 18 less than 1, the victor, is the magical disc, hurled to reach heaven by violence. This sermon is untrue. The ending of the words is Alm Civi. So yeah, well, the 36 lessons of Vivec has nothing to do with me. Oh yeah, totally. It has nothing to do with you, Daygother. Absolutely nothing. It has nothing to do with the Sharmat being older than music or anything like that. Nah, not at all. Alduin didn't lose his soul, I think, but Dragon Blood is definitely shore related. Alduin did not lose his soul. That is true. He because he will come again to devour the world. I wonder if Shore absorbed the soul of Alduin in Sovngarde, or if the Dragon Blood is a gift from Shore. The Alduin's soul could have been absorbed by Shore, but I think he was basically being remanifested so that he will soon in the far future consume the world once again. So yeah. All right. So now let us go to Sermon 19. I always saw Vivec not being able to kill one of his children as him not being able to cleanse himself of the impurities that hold him back from true godhood. That was something, okay, that sounds very familiar to something that was discussed last time we did this. I remember that there was something about that, so you could be correct. It should be stated that I am just a guy pretending he knows what he's talking about. I don't really know much. This is so... I know certain things about the lore, but whenever it comes to this, it becomes extremely... How do I fucking stop this? I don't know. It becomes extremely complex. But it could be true in Sermon 18, whenever he says, are you in doubt? Out of 9, there will be only 8. The last is already destroyed by your decision to create the Book of Hours. Vivec understood that Am meant himself. He could not hold himself back from, what you said, Vivec not being able to kill one of his children as him not being able to cleanse himself of the impurities that hold him back from true godhood. That is most likely correct. That makes a lot of sense. I like that, actually. So now, Sermon 19, which I have not read at all. Jeez, I'm sorry if I burp a lot. I literally ate dinner right before this. Sermon 19. Vivec put on his armor and stepped into a non-spatial space, filling to capacity with mortal interaction and information. So like a town hall. A canvas less cartography of every single mind it has ever known. An event that had developed some semblance of a divine spark. He said, "From here I shall launch my attack on the 8 monsters." So Vivec's going on a side quest before the war with the dwarves, where he's going to kill his 8 children, his monstrous children. 19 is one of my favorites. It's so confusing. Oh, god damn. I cannot wait. All right. Vivec then saw the moths that would come from the starry heart. Okay, Cyrodiil. Bringing with them dust more horrible than the ash of Red Mountain. He saw the twin head of a ruling king who had no equivalent, and 8 imperfections rubbed into precious stones set into a crown that looked like shackles. The Amulet of Kings, or the ruby crown, which he understood to be the twin crowns of the two-headed king, and a river that fed into the mouth of the two-headed king, because he contained multitudes. So the two-headed king could refer to whoever the emperor is, because the emperor is close to Akatosh, who is a two-headed dragon because of the fact that he is both Akatosh but also Alduin. So he basically has split personality and is 2 people in one. So that could be why, or two-headed king could just literally refer to Alduin Akatosh himself. But it probably refers to a king that is like devoted to him, the Emperor of Cyrodiil, because it says the Starry Heart, which is showing Cyrodiil, 8 imperfections that rubbed. Oh, 8 imperfections, the 8 divines. Okay, so yeah, this is actually talking about Akatosh, I would say. 8 imperfections rubbed into precious stones. So talking about the 8 divines. Okay. That possibly makes sense. Maybe. Vivec then built the provisional house at the center of the secret door. From here, he could watch an age to come, the third era, of the house is written. So this is the House of Troubles. The provisional house is probably Kim and or the God place from Vivec's in-game dialogue. Okay. Question, but where in the timeline does the dragons ruling the world, like, is that before everything except for the trick of Lorcan? So the dragons existed, God, I'm so pale in here. Maybe I don't really need that, yeah. So the dragons always existed. Honestly, whenever it comes to the dragons, it is kind of confusing. They were there at the dawn of the world. So they were there in the Malefic era. They were there probably before. They were there when time began, because dragons ruled the world when time began. So, yeah. Maybe, well, let me reread your question. But where in the timeline does the dragons ruling the world, like, is that before everything except for the trick or Lorcan? It might have been before Lorcan, actually. Before Lorcan created the world. The dawn of time, literally, yeah. So yeah, I would say it's then. The dragon cult he's thinking about in Skyrim is post-Atmora migration. Oh, if you're speaking about the dragon cult specifically, then that would still be before the first era, I would say. Or maybe... Wait, what are the eras? I need to look this up real quick, because I'm forgetting my eras. Elder Scrolls eras. This is very off topic, but I need to know now. Timeline. So there is, because I'm stupid. So there's the Dawn era, there's the Malefic era, and then the First era. So humans, okay, so the Malefic era is all about the myrrh. But I would say it would be like late Or maybe it was, I would say it would be still during the Merethic era, I would say. I would say it would still be during then, because the first era is whenever, you know, you already have all the humans and everything. Yeah, Daggerfall defeats the Akaviri, Daggerfall being all the Bretons and shit. Harald is born, so yeah, it would definitely be before that. Aldmer, Sales, something, do Trinimac, Tyr tears out Lorcan's heart, and that's with the Admorans, so that would be... Oh, this is Dawn era, actually. So... Huh. Auriel saw it, Lurkin, the ancestors, the Wandering Eldafe, whose heroes included Atmorans. So yeah, it would be Dawn era, actually. So the Merethic era did actually have the people. I thought First era, isn't Dragon Cult after Sarthal? That is a great question. I don't know. But anyways, let's go back to the Sermon 19. So, Vivec then built the provisional house at the center of the secret door. From here he could watch the age to come of the house as written. Cornerstone 1 has a finger, buried under, pointing through. Cornerstone 2 has a tongue, and even dust can be talkative. Listen and you will see the love the ancient libraries need. Cornerstone 3 has a bit of string, shaped like your favorite color. A girl remembers who left it there, but she is afraid to dig it out and see what it is attached to. Cornerstone 4 has 9 bones, removed carefully from a black cat, damn, lost its 9 lives, arranged in the fashion of this world, protecting us from our enemies. Your house is safe now, so why is it? Your house is safe now, so why is it? The ending of the words is Om Sivi. So yeah, I think this is describing each of the 4 corners of the house, but I have no idea which it's referring to exactly. But yeah, that is the point of Sermon 19, to basically describe them. Yeah, I can't really... I mean, dirt could probably be Malakath. Because, you know, how Malakath was, whatchamacallit? Malakath was Trinimac, who was devoured by Boethia and became Malakath, so... Probably him. Cornerstone 2 has a tongue, and even dust can be talkative. Listen, and you will see... Yeah, I have no idea who that could be. Maybe Molag Bal? Cornerstone 3 has a bit of string, shaped like your favorite color. That's probably Sheogorath, maybe? Cornerstone 4 has 9 bones. That just seems like it's Mehrunes Dagon by default, but I don't really know. So, yeah. Anyways, let us go to Sermon 20. The first monster was actually 2, having been born twice, like his mother-father Vivec, Vivec being born twice. He was not the mightiest of the 8 to escape Muatra, but his actions were the most worrisome. He was known as Moon Axle, and he harvested the leftovers foibles of nature. This he did twice, as he was said, and the second harvest always brought ruin or unwritten law. His aspect was faceted like a polyhedron. No perils are mentioned in the finding of Moonaxle, but it was known that he was immune to spears, so Vivec had to use the sword not held against him. Before he took issue with the monster, the warrior poet asked, "How come you to be immune to spears?" To which Moonaxle replied, "Mine is a dual nature and protein." Okay, so he works out. I am in fact made of many straight lines, though none last too long. In this way, I have learned to ignore all true segments. So the sword not held is an artifact of the tribunal god Vivec. The sword not held is curved, bright, silver longsword that, as the name implied, was not grasped when used in combat, which, as we can see from all of the art, so this sword right here is literally called the sword not held. So I wonder if this creature is the Ruddy Man. We'll find out. Spoilers, spoilers. But yeah. Luckily, the sword not held was curved, therefore could cut into Moon Axel, and before the sun was up, he was bleeding from many wounds. Vivec did not slay him outright, for to do so would keep him to keep the foibles of nature within him, and not back where they belonged. Soon Vivec had traced geography right again, and Moon Axel was ready to be slain. Bring it on. Bring it on, man. I'm ready. Vivec rose up in his giant form, to be terrible to look upon. He reached into the west and pulled out a crayon, holding it like a horn. He reached east and ate a handful of Nyx hounds. Damn, that's based. Blowing their spirit through the canyon made a terrible wail, not unlike an unsolved woman. The fuck? He said, what the fuck? Let this overtake you. And Moon Axel was overtaken by the curvatures of stolen souls. They wrapped around the monster like resin until finally he could not move, nor could his dual nature. Vivec said, now you are solved, and pierced his child with Muatra. Moon Axel had been reduced to something static and therefore shattered. The lines of Moon Axel were collected by Valathi philosophers and taken into caves. There, and for a year, Vivec taught the philosophers how to turn the lines of his son into the spokes of mystery wheels. This was the birth of the first whirling school. Before, there had only been the surface thought of fire. Vivec looked at the first wheeling student and observed, alike the egg-layered universe is this morbid possession of three distant coverage, soul-wrecked and alive, like my name is alive. In this cloister you have discovered one walking path, hilled like a sword, but more coarsened. So edged it is that it has to be whispered to keep the tongue from bleeding, where its signs evacuate their former meanings, like empires that tarry too long. The sword is estrangement from statesmanship. Look on the estimable lines of my son, now crafted star-wise, his every limb equidistant from the center. Is he solved because I will it so? There cannot be a second stage. Think on the theory that my existence promulgates the five elements, and alike the egg-layered universe, I am cause for great density. Here is a thought that can break the wagon's axle. Here is another that can soar. The ending of the words is Orm Civi. A lot of skooma was involved in the sermons. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. A crayon, lol. Yeah, what the fuck? My thing is like, what was the part that he was talking about? Yeah. Blowing their spirits through the canyon made a terrible wail, not unlike an unsolved woman. What the fuck? The hell does that mean? So yeah, I really don't know. He killed his son. He slew his first monster, and I can't take off this shirt. There we go. It's getting hot now. At some point, I'm going to have to take off my jeans and put some shorts on. New Whirling School is also a website with interpretations of the 36 lessons. The Memosphere channel guy runs the website. Interesting. I actually subscribed to him after my previous live stream. I haven't watched any of his videos. Well, I watched I'd say like the first like 10-20 minutes of the first episode talking about sermon 0 or 1, probably 1. But yeah. Elder Scrolls lore is such an acid trip, hell yeah. But you have to take everything more metaphorical than literal. That's what I've been given to learning whenever it comes to the Remonada, when it comes to this, when it comes to Boethia and Trinimac and all that. Sermon 21. 21 being a very important number in a lot of religions, I believe. So, yeah, 21. Okay, before we actually do begin, I feel like this is going to be important. Maybe I'm wrong, because the number 21 is important, and I only know this because fucking Assassin's Creed 21. I feel like that, or maybe I'm wrong. I remember whatchamacallit, there was a scene in Brotherhood where Sean mentions it. Sean mentions 21, or maybe I'm wrong. No, it was 72. Never mind. I'm talking out of my ass, actually. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, that was 72, actually. Never mind. Sermon 21. The Scripture of the Wheel First. The spokes are the 8 components of chaos. Okay, 8 components of chaos, the 8 divines. Of chaos, the orbis. Okay, the 8 components of the orbis, as yet solidified by the law of time, Akatosh, static change, if you will, something the lizard gods referred to as the striking, that is the reptile wheel, coiled potential, ever preamble to the never action. Okay? Second, they are the lent bones of the Aedra, the 8 gift limbs of Sithis, the wet earth of the new star, our home. Outside them is the orbis, and not within. Like most things inexplicable, it is a circle. Circles are confused serpents. Ooh, this. Oh shit! This deals with Redguard shit. I know about this stuff from the research I've been doing on my video. Circles are confused serpents. This deals with Sep, basically the Yokuden interpretation of Lorcan. Fun fact, but all humans revere Lorcan except for Redguards who hate him, and all elves despise Lorcan with the exception of the Dark Elves. So yeah, so interesting that they're saying this. Striking and never given leave to bite. The Aedra would have you believe different, but they were givers before liars. Lies have turned them into biters. Their teeth are the okay, they're this thing. They are the blank to convert is to a place oneself in the mouth of falsehood, even to God damn, I do not know words. Even to propitate is to be swallowed. Third, the enlightened are those uneaten by the world, so the world skin, those that are uneaten by Alduin. Fourth, the spaces between the gift limbs, planes of existence, so the different planes of the orbis. Number 16, the signal shapes of the demon princedoms, the Daedric princes. There's 16 Daedric princes. It is the key and the lock, Ceres and Manticore. But they don't know about Ithelia, who was added into fucking ESO. The one thing about ESO I really didn't like. Though she got eviscerated from existence from Hermaeus Mora, so, you know. So this is all about ascending from mortality. That's the impression that I get from all of this. It is basically, again, because it also talks about ascend, pierce heaven through violence or something. It says, I forget exactly where, but it says that it's like a common theme in all of this. I can't find it. But yeah, that does appear to be a theme, but I can't find it anymore. It was here. No, it was in here. Okay, yeah, to heaven by violence. So yeah, the idea of like heaven by violence, ascending mortality is a very common theme in this. All right. Uh, okay, fifth. Look at the majesty sideways, and all you see is the tower, the towers of Nirn, which our ancestors, the Aldmer, made idols from. Look at its center, Mundus, and all you see is the begotten whole. Sep, or Lorcan, womb ready for the right reaching, exact and without enchantment. Sixth, the heart of the second serpent holds the secret triangular gate. Seventh, look at the secret triangular gate sideways, and you see the secret tower. Eighth, the secret tower within the tower is the shape of the only name of God, I. Ooh, the ending of the words is Civi. I being Kim. So he's referring to Kim, but he says I as like himself. The secret tower within the tower is the shape of the only name of God, I. So the secret tower, within the tower. So within the tower, I feel like it's talking about Red Mountain, maybe, or maybe I'm wrong there. The only name of God, I, or one maybe, is probably inspired by the book of Genesis. Yahweh means something like I am, or I am that I am. Okay, so if I were to read it, the secret tower within the tower is the shape of the only name of God, I am. So I am. Oh, wait, hold up. So I am the secret tower within the tower is the shape of the only name of God. Yeah. So this is either referring to, and I remember this was something that I read from, or I watched from Memosphere, like the bit that I watched of the first episode, it was the question of who is the 36 lessons of Vivec written for? And there was a talking about how maybe it was for Vivec himself, maybe it was for the Nerevarine, stuff like that. So it begs the question, like, who is the secret tower? If my theory, just from reading this with the most like shallow knowledge, is that the secret tower within the tower could refer to Nerevarine, the Nerevar Indoril being the secret tower within the tower being Red Mountain. Could be wrong, but yeah. What Skuma's cat said, and also Kim can't exist without the I. Someone has to be the one achieving Kim, and Vivec is showing himself as one. So yeah, if that's the case, then it is probably referring to Vivec himself. Maybe. I probably need to read about the book of Genesis, honestly. I have a Bible in my my bedroom. I just haven't read it, but now I'm kind of interested in doing so. Eighth, the secret tower. Oh, I already read that. Never mind. I already read this. So yeah. So yeah. All right. Sermon 22. Then Vivec left the first whirling school and went back to this space that was not a space. Wait. I agree. Being able to say I am is essential for Kim, even though you have the evidence that you are just part of the dream. Yeah. God, I have to like decipher so much shit, but oh god, I need to hold up. I need to read up on Kim well, maybe I should do it after this live stream, but fuck it, my live stream. I can do what I want. Kim is basically ascending. Fuck, what's Kim again? Shit. I have like a genuine idea of it. The secret syllable of royalty, it's like ascension and all that. Damn it. I think, therefore I am. I know that quote. Yeah. Damn it, I feel like I've forgotten what Kim is. Kim is basically a Descartes on LSD, lol. God, yeah, I don't know if... It feels like Vivec is talking about himself, probably himself, yeah, but more broadly talking about how one attains godhood slash Kim through ultimate self discovery and self power. So yeah, ultimate self discovery and basically learning all experiences and stuff like that. Nirvana, Kim equals Nirvana. Yeah, so kind of like achieving godhood, being the dreamer, being part of the dream, being the godhead, the one that basically created everything, the writer, all of that stuff. That is Kim from what I understand it. So yeah. I got so nervous because I thought that I just completely forgot what it is, or I just didn't fully understand it. But that is basically what it is. Escaping the dream that is reality of the Elder Scrolls. So yeah, escaping it and becoming one of us. Basically being red pilled or blue pilled or whatever the fuck it is. I never watched fucking whatever. What's that movie? What is the what's what's the movie? The Matrix. The Matrix. Yeah, I never watched The Matrix. So I don't know. Escaping Todd's limitations. Yeah. Kim is both knowing that you are part of the dream and also holding on to your ego. It is a contradictory state. The letter written in uncertainty. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to Sermon 22, shall we? Then Vivek left the first whirling school and went back to this space that was not a space. From the provisional house, he looked into the middle world to find the second monster, which was called the Treasure Wood Sword. Within years of the pomegranate banquet, it had become a lessening tune to the lower Valathi houses. They preached of its power. Lower Valathi houses. So there's the great houses, but the houses that are lower than this. So, House Hlalu in the Fourth Era. Ayo! Anyways. The Treasure Wood Sword, Splinter Scintilla of the High and Glorious. He who wields it becomes self-known. So that's his power. The warrior poet appeared as a visitation in the ancestor alcove of House Mora. House Mora being a minor political house that was later absorbed into House Hlalu. Interesting. I always just think Hermaeus Mora, but so House Mora doesn't specifically refer to Hermaeus Mora, but yeah, so it doesn't specifically. He explains that the prince of House Mora was fond of Vivec. So yeah, it has nothing to do with Hermaeus Mora, but that's probably where Tel Mora comes from, the Telvanni settlement. Kim is realizing that there aren't actually 7,000 steps, yeah. I'll never forget, Todd Howard made such a big talk about how, I actually counted the steps. It's like, no, you didn't. Mora means forest/woods. Yeah, I remember it was like a translation of something. It's like so Hermaeus Mora is basically the woodland man or something like that, the forest dude. So yeah. The warrior poet appeared as a visitation in the ancestor alcove of House Mora, whose rose-worn prince of garlands was a hero against the northern demons. I should probably lean back in my chair, be more relaxed. Against the northern demons, being the Nords, Vivek congregated with the bones. He said, a scavenger cannot acquire a silk sash and expect to discover the greater systems of its predecessor. Perfect happiness is embraced only by the weeping. Give me back, and do so freely, what is barren of my marriage, and I will not erase you from the thought realm of God. Your line has a notable enchantress that my sister Aam is fond of, and from her murky wisdom alone do I condescend to ask. A bone walker emerged from a wall. It had 3 precious stones set in its lower jaw, a magical practice of old. One was opal, the color of opal. Okay, thanks for describing it that way. That made thanks for that. The Bone Walker bowed to the Prince of the Middle Air and said, the Treasure Wood Sword will not leave our house. Bargains were made with the black hands of Mafala, the greater shade. Vivec kissed the first precious stone and said, Animal picture, the rude walker, go back to the lamp that stays lit in water and store no more messages of useless noise. Down. He kissed the second precious stone and said, Proud residue, soon dispersed, serve no guarantees made in my fore-image, and demand nothing of its under skin. I am master evermore. Down. He kissed the opal and said, Down I take thee. So I feel like these three opal stones might be referring to the three good Daedra, but I'm not entirely sure there. Could be wrong. Could be. And then Vivec withdrew into the hidden places and found the darkest mothers of the Morag Tong, taking them all to wife and filling them with undusted loyalty that's tasted of summer salt. They became as black queens, screaming live with 100 murderous sons, 1,000 murderous arms, and 100,000 murderous hands. One vast moving event of thrusting kill laughter in alleys, palaces, workshops, cities, and secret halls. Their movements among the holdings of the Rathim were as rippled endings, heaving between times, with all fates leading to swallowed knives, murder as moaning, God's holy erasure of wet death. The king of assassins presented to Vivec the treasure wood sword. My lord, the king of assassins said, the prince of House Mora is now fond of you as well. I placed him in the corner of Dagon. His eyes I set into a fire prayer for the wicked. His mouth I stuffed with birds. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. How did I know this was going to be some sort of sex metaphor? Oh, because it's fucking Michael Kirkbride. Would you expect anything less from Michael motherfucking Kirkbride with his ejaculations and shit in the Remanada? Technically, good Daedra are the Aedra, no? The good Daedra are the, are Boethia, Mephala, and Azura. Those are the three good Daedra, at least from the perspective of the Dunmer. So yeah, it has a demonetization word. We can't do that. No, no, no. You might want to screen away from this part. I don't actually care if this does get demonetized, because it's not like I'm making a whole lot of money from this live stream. So even though like last time I did screen away, I think it will be fine as long as I don't say it. Maybe, you know, don't like have it land there and hyper focus on the word, but I think, you know, as long as I don't say it or focus on it heavily, I should be fine. And if not, I lose $2. That's all I'll make max off of this live stream, so it's ultimately fine. So yeah. One of the devs once said that Nerevar's full name was Seryo Indaril Nerevar Mora. So Nerevar may have been part of House Mora. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So there's a bit to unpack here. So the Black Hands of Mephala, I think, are referring to the Morag Tong, the Greater Shade. So Vivec is basically kissing each of these precious stones, which I think are an interpretation of the three good Daedra. And he's trying to fight his second son, Treasurewood Sword. Maybe Treasurewood Sword is a literal wooden sword. Who knows? Maybe I gave fucking Treasurewood Sword to my son in Skyrim so he could practice it on a dummy. Who knows? He took, and this is the part that I'm interested about. And Vivec withdrew into the hidden places and found the darkest mothers of the Morag Tong, Darkest mothers, so like the most advanced members of the Morag Tong, taking them all to wife and filling them with undusted loyalty that tasted of summer salt. So maybe like I don't think he literally married them and fucked them. I think like it's got to be like a metaphor for like taking them like under his wing or something, or bestowing loyalty upon them maybe. Yeah, what is Rathim? This was something. Wait. They became his black queen, screaming alive with 100 murderous sons, 1,000 murderous arms, and 100,000 murderous hands. So yeah, I think this is referring to yeah, like he's like taking some of like the members of the Morag Tong under his wing, maybe, and they become his black queens. Gender really has no meaning, I would say, in all of this. Let me move my camera down a little bit so you can see Neloth be decapitated. Either that or Vivec is struggling to create life and can only create death. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he did try to impregnate all of them and failed. Become his disciples, maybe. That's like my concept of it. Because again, screaming live with 1,100 murderous sons. Well, I don't know. Maybe he did give birth to sons from the Black Queens. I'm not sure. The King of Assassins presented to Vivec the Treasurewood Sword. So he presented his second son, my lord. The King of Assassins said, the Prince of House Mora is now fond of you as well. His eyes, and I stuffed him with birds, whatever that means. Okay. We're going to go on to Sermon 23. So, the scripture of the sword first. The sword, treated as a delicate meal, is the symbolic college. It serves you well in the first half of life. Name one dynasty that knows this not. Second, the unity of my approach is understood by the immobile warrior. True eyes are acquired. Rejoice as my own subjects and realms. I build for you a city of swords, by which I mean laws that cut the people who live there into better shapes. I remember this line from Fudge Muppet's esoteric build, cutting things into better shapes. So interesting. Third, girls burn their dresses on my arrival if I am armored. They crawl to me as bled pilgrims. Minor spirits die without trace. Follow me of all the Omsivi if you are to mark your days without killing. A Altadun, the third law of weaponry. So minor spirits die without a trace might refer to those minor spirits in Daggerfall that we never hear of anymore, that died and are just no more. Maybe. That's my interpretation of that. Yeah, I agree with Marcelo Lopes. This is Vivec taking control of the Morag Tong. Gotcha. Glad to see I was not off the mark there. Fourth, the immobile warrior is never fatigued. I would like to apologize. That was my alarm. That's telling me to turn the first light off for my turtle, but I got someone doing that for me, so it's all fine. The immobile warrior is never fatigued. He cuts sleep holes in the middle of a battle to regain strength. So he's able to like do battle meditation maybe. Fifth, instinct is not a reflex action, but many miracles held in reserve. I am the welfare that decides which warrior will emerge. Beg not for luck. Serve me to win. What's the turtle's name? My turtle's name is Stoigard. I'm curious. You know what? You guys brought this upon yourselves. Now I want to show you a picture of my turtle. If my phone will ever work. I think I have a picture. Do I have a good picture of him? That's the question. Yeah, this is a pretty badass image of him. Hard to see. Well, actually, it'd be better if I just camera it. Show you from here. Well, actually, wait. I can do that. There you go. That's him. That's my turtle stoa guard. Damn, it's really hard to like see him because of the camera, but you get the idea. Yeah, that's my boy. I hope it's my boy. I don't really know what gender it is. It's really hard to tell the genders of turtles, but yeah. That alarm's probably another alarm's probably gonna go off at 9 o'clock, so be aware of that. Red-eared slider. He is a yellow-bellied slider turtle, but yeah, very very similar to a red-eared slider. My kid's turtle is named Koopa. Nice. Cool turtle. A very dapper gentleman turtle. Yeah, like Vivec. Yeah. Stoa Guard is just completely like Vivec. What can I say, He's like Vivec, lol. Male, female. Yeah, he actually is. We don't know. We don't know his gender. His gender's kind of just up in the air, Anyways. That is not what I wanted. There we go. All right, back to the reading. Sixth, the span of the apparently inactivated is your love of the absolute. The birth of God from the Netchman's wife, so, whenever Vivec was born, is the abortion of kindness from love. Okay. Seventh, the true sword is able to cut chains of generations, which is to say, the creation myths of your enemies. The true sword is able to cut chains of generations, which is to say, the creation myths of your enemies. Look on me as the exiled look on me as the exiled garden, all else is uncut weed. Eighth, I give you an ancient road tempered by the second walking way. Your hands must be huge to wield any sword the size of an ancient road. And yet, he who is able to right stature may irritate the sun with only a stick. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. Cool, we're going to move on. Then Vivec left the House of Assassins, the Morag Tong, and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provisional house, he looked into the middle world to find the third monster, called Horde Mountain. Okay. Well, hang on a second. An abortion of kindness from love relates to some stuff in Sermon 35. Well, we'll find out soon. Soon enough. Called Horde Mountain. It was made of modular warriors running free, but spaced according to pattern. And from the highest warrior who could cut clouds, they spread out beneath him like a tree, a skirt whose bottom circle was an army that ran through the ash. Vivec admired the cone shape of his child and remembered with joy the whirlwind of fighting styles that instructed him during the days before life. Vivec moved into Veloth, saying, Onus. But before he could get even within a sword span of the monster, a trio of lower houses had trapped Horde Mountain in a net, doubtful doctrine. When they saw their lord, the Velothi cheered. We are happy to serve you and win. Vivec smiled at those brave souls around him and summoned celebration demons to cleave unto the victors. There was a great display of love and duty around the netted monster, and Vivec was at the center with a headdress made of mating bones. He laughed and told mystical jokes and made the heads of the three houses merry and become a new order. You shall forever be my buoyant armigers. So it is buoyant armatures. Let me see if I can move my chair up. No, I can't. All right. So these brave souls from these lesser houses that were able to aid Vivec in the in the capture, I should say, of Horde Mountain. You shall now forever be my buoyant armigers, he said. Then Vivec pierced Horde Mountain with Muatra, and made of it all a big bag of bones. At the touch of his right hand, the net became right scripture, and he threw it all northeasterly. The contents spread out like sugar glows, and Vivec and the buoyant armigers ran under it laughing. Finally, the bones of Horde Mountain landed and become the foundation stones for the City of Swords. Vivec City, which Vivec named after his own sigil, and the net fell across it all and between, or became as bridges between bones, and since its segment had been touched by his holy wisdom, they became the most perfect of all city streets in the known worlds. Throngs of Valathi came to the new city, and Aim and Set gave it their blessing. The streets were filled with laughter and love, and the strength of tree-shaped enemy children. Aim said, "To my sister brother's city, I give the holy protection of House Indoril, whose powers and thrones know no equal under heaven, wherefrom came the Hortator." Set said, "To my sister brother's city, I give safe passage through the dark corners still left of Molag Bal, and I give it this spell as well. So Thasil, good job, which is my name to the mighty. It will protect the lost unless their flight is on purpose and fill all the roads and alleys with the mystery paths of civilization, and give the city a mind and make of it a conduit, the full concentrate of the Om Civi. Thus was founded the city of Vivec in the days of Resdania. The ending of the words is Om Civi." This is more of a happy sermon. Kind of like the good old days whenever the buoyant armigers were formed and Vivec was happy and cheering. Making a city on the bones of the dead is inspired by the Bible. The new Jerusalem will be built on the bones of the horde that comes from the four corners of the world in Jeremiah and Revelations. I see. Interesting. Before we continue, well, actually, we're going to do Sermon 25, and then I'm going to go change into shorts instead of these jeans that I am wearing. So, yeah. Anyways, Sermon 25. The Scripture of the City. All cities are born of solid light, such as my city, his city. Well, hang on a second. Not happy at all. I think this implies Vivec is built partially on the bones of Argonian slaves. Sermon 25 mentions tree-shaped enemy children, which could be the Argonian slaves. I don't trust Vivec's idea of happy. Yeah, that's true. And we're going to find out about these Argonian slaves in a moment. All cities are born of solid light, such as my city, his city. But then the light subsides, revealing the bright and terrible angel of Veloth. Okay, this has nothing to do with the angel here. Okay. Angel of Veloth. He is the pre-chimerial form, demonic Vec. Gaunt and pale and beautiful, skin stretched painfully, thin on bird's bone. Feathered serpents encircling his arms, his wings are spread out behind him, their red and yellow ends like razors in the sun. The wispy mass of his fire hair floats as if underwater, milky in the nimbus of light that crowns his head. The presence is undeniable, the all too much to bear. This is God's city. This is God's country. Different from others. Cities from foreign countries put their denizens to sleep and walk to the star-wounded east, to Red Mountain, to pay homage to me. The capital of the northern men, Windhelm, crusty with eons ice, bows before Vivec the city, me it together. Self-thought streets rush through tunnel blood. I have rebuilt myself. Hyper-eyed signposts along the traffic arm. Soon to be an inner city. My body is crawling with all gathered to see me rising up like a monolithic instrument of pleasure. My spine is the main road to the city that I am. Countless transactions are taking place in veins and catwalks, and the roaming as they roam over and through and add to me. There are temples erected along the hollow of my skull, and I will never wear them as a crown. Walk across the lips of God. Whew, I'm getting a headache. Tree-shaped refers to how the Hist shape the Argonians with their sap. All right. Did we cover that already? We'll see. They add new doors to me, and I became effortlessly trans-immortal with the comings and goings and the stride heat of the market where I am traded for. Yell of the children hear them play. Scoffed at, amused, desired, paid for in native coin, new minted with my face on one side and my city body on the other. I stare with each new window. Soon I am a million-eyed insect dreaming. Red sparking war trumpets sound like cattle in ribcage of shuffling transit. The heretics are destroyed on the plaza knees. I flood over into the hills. Houses rising like a rash, and I never scratch. Cities are the antidotes to hunting. I raise lanterns to my light hollows, lend wax to the candlesticks that bear my name again, the name innumerable shutting in mantra and priest god city, filling every corner with my naming name, wheeled, circling, running, river. I'm so fucking lost. I'm gonna be completely honest here. River, language, giggling with footfalls, mating, selling, stealing, searching, and worry not ye who walk with me. This is the flowering scheme of the Orbis. This is the promise of the Sigic image, man, God, city, state. I serve and am served. I am made of wire and string and mortar, and I exceed my own precedent. World without am. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. Okay. In the book of Revelations in the New Jerusalem, God will dwell in the city among his people, just like Jerusalem is where God placed his name. Okay. Where did it talk about the Argonian slaves? Did it mention that? It's basically just Vivec embodying his city. Okay. Gotcha. I remember you said in Sermon 25, I'm trying to see where it mentioned the Argonians, or the children of Tree. Maybe I missed it or something. Uncertain. That's how I understood it too. Okay, so he's embodying his city. So that's the too long didn't read there. Anyways, before continuing to 26, I am going to change from my jeans real quick to put on some shorts, so I will be right back. And before I'm back, sorry, the Argonian slaves was back in Sermon 24. Sermon 24, you say? My spine. Heretics are destroyed. Lanterns. Image. His wings are spread out. Where is it? I'm trying to see. I don't see it. Anyways, it doesn't matter regardless, as I know basically Sermon 25. Tree-shaped enemy children is what I am interpreting as Argonians. It's in 24. I'm trying to find the word tree. Wait, was I looking at this one and not this one? Where's tree? I'm trying to find, where's the goddamn trees? Arthur. Arthur, where's the goddamn trees? I don't know, Dutch. Mwatra. Do you know what line it's in? Oh, here we are. I see it. Tree-shaped enemy children. Throngs of Alothi came to the new city, and Am and Set gave it their blessing. The streets were filled with laughter and love, and the strength of tree-shaped enemy children. The strength of the slaves. That is... okay. I see it now. Anyways, let me get out of these things, and I will be back. And while we wait, you will be watched by Vivec. So, you know. Neloth, watch them, okay? You can do that for me. Watch ever so carefully them. You guys entertain Neloth. He gets very bored very easily. And when he's bored, he's violent. I do not want to die. So, I'll be back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm ready for the 36 lessons of Vivec now. Woo! Let's get it. All right, I'm not going to actually look like that. There we go. All right. Quick, everyone, cast wards. No, no, don't cast wards. Don't do it, no. Quick, make some Canis Root tea. Yeah, make it for him now. Did you guys make it for him while I was gone? You better have. It'd be really bad if you didn't. Things would get pretty goddamn violent. Here. Drink. Drink. Drink your tea. Drink your tea. There you go. Drink. Drink. There you go. There you go. Can't believe I'm role-playing with a fucking cardboard cutout right now. Alright. Anyways, 26. All right, we're at Sermon 26. Now we have 10 left. And then I can marinate on what the fuck I've been reading all this time. Then Vivec left... let me move this a little bit. There we go. Then Vivec left his architectural rapture and went back to the space that was not a space. Okay, what's the space that was not a space? We've read on this like 6 times now. From the provisional house, he looked into the middle world to find the 4th monster called the Pocket Cabal. Interesting. The monster hid itself in the spell lists of the great Chimeri wizards of the extreme east. Oh shit! That's the Telvanni! Oh damn! We got the Telvanni in the 36 lessons. I think Sermon 26 is my favorite. Oh hell yeah! Did you hear about this, man? Did you know about this? Is Sermon 26 your favorite too? I bet it is. Oh hell yeah! Oh, I'm excited now. Oh, let's go. Oh, damn, and CVS over here is excited too. And Lumos with 100% fiber optic internet coming soon. Oh, I can't wait. And Amazon over here. Oh, it's gone. Oh, CVS is back. All right, cool. I'm glad CVS would sponsor this live stream. I was looking forward to that. All right, let's go. I'm excited now. Woo! The Telvanni are here. Let's go. Called the Pocket Cabal. The monster hid itself in the spell lists of the great chimera wizards of the extreme east, where emperor parasols grow wild. Vivec disguised himself as a simple traveler, but radiated a tenuous sense fabric so that the wizards would seek him out. Of Muathra, he made a simple walking dwarf. Before long, the Invisible One was among the libraries of the East, feeding the essential words of the Pocket Cabal to his walking dwarf, and then running when the magic would fail. After a year or two of this thievery, Muathra was sick to its stomach, and the walking dwarf exploded near the slave pens of the wizard towers. The Pocket Cabal slipped itself into the mouths of the slaves and hid again. Vivec then watched as the slaves erupted into babble and breaking magic. They rattled their cages and sung out of half hymns that formed into forbidden and arcane knowledge. Litany fiends appeared and drank from excess. Grabbers, okay, from the adjacent plane came into the world sideways, the slave talking having disrupted the normal, non-cardinal points. So, of course, a giant bug well, obviously a big-ass bug had to appear, you know? Like, that just had to happen. So, of course, a big giant bug appeared with the greatest Eastern wizard inside it. He could see past Vivec's disguise and knew of the warrior poet's divinity, but he thought himself so powerful that he could talk harshly. See what you have wrought, silly triune. Columns of nonsense and litany fiends. I cannot believe how reason of temperance can be made whole again due to your eating. Consort with more demons, why don't you? And that being Molag Bal, his consort with him. Vivec stabbed the wizard through his soul. Yeah, fuck you. The giant bug harness fell on the slave cages and the slaves ran about free and reckless. Too reckless more with pregnant words, color bent into the earth. Vivec created a dome-head demon to contain it all. The Pocket Cabal is therefore interred here forever. Let this be a cursed land where sorcery is broken and maligned. Then he picked up Muathra by the beard and left the ghostly hemisphere of the dome-head demon. On its boundaries, Vivec placed a warning and a song of entrance that contained errors in it. With mock bones of half-dead Muathra, he created the tent poles of a fortress theory, and fatal languages were imprisoned for all time. Set appeared and looked on what his brother-sister had created. The Clockwork King said, "Of the 8 monsters, this is the most confusing. May I treasure it?" Vivec gave Set leave to do so, but told him never to release the Pocket Cabal into the middle world. He said, "I have hidden secrets in my travels here, and made a likeness of Muathra to ward against the unwise. Under this dome of the temporal myth is no longer man. The ending of the words is Omsivi." I don't know what happened to the Pocket Cabal. Did the Pocket Cabal die or venture to slay? But the tenuous sense fabric he wore drew out a giant bug. Inside, the insect was eventually destroyed, containing it in a head dome demon. Fascinated by the creature and asked Vivec to treasure it, never to release it into the middle world. Okay. All right. The scripture, or Sermon 27. The scripture of the word first. All language is based on meat. Do not let the sophists fool you. Second, the third walking path explores hysteria without fear. The efforts of madmen are a society of itself, but only if they are written. The wise may substitute one law for another, even into incoherence, and still say he is working within a method. This is true of speech and extends to all scripture. Third, do not go to the realm of apology for absolution, beyond articulation. There is no fault. The adjacent place where the who the fuck are the grabbers? The grabbers are from the adjacent place and are said to have never built a city of their own. Tribunal teaches that the grabbers tried to conquer Vivec City at some point. The monsters were stopped by the god Vivec, who showed the grabbers the error of their false hope. Pocket Cabal was able to cause grabbers to come into the world sideways by causing magical anomalies by the disruption of normal non-cardinal points. The Augur of Obscure claims to have an alternate form in the adjacent place. It was mentioned. Antagonistic beings it calls antipodal math grabbers and claims, all right, so it's creatures. Basically all I need to know. I love the stream, and I'm curious what we are going to read and discuss next time. See you guys later. Good day, Jacob Crowley. 'Twas an honor. These monsters have got to be some allegory for different things, right? You'd think. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know what the grabbers are. I really don't know. The Domehead Demon could be Sothasil's Clockwork City, which is why Set treasures it at the end. Vivec likes to take credit for things he 100% did not do. Yeah, I forgot. Well, I'm kind of taking this as all fact, even though the 36 lessons of Vivec are not true, because Vivec muddies between truth and fiction, and takes credit for things, and yeah. So yeah. Holy shit, I am so lightheaded. Anyways. Fourth, the truest body of work is made up of silence, as in the silence that results from no reference. By the word, I mean the dead. Fifth, the first meaning is always hidden. Sixth, the realm of apology is perfection, and impossible to attack. Thus, the wise avoid it. Trinity and union is the world and word of action. The third walking path. Seventh, the sage who suppresses his best aphorism, cut off his hands, for he is a thief. Eighth, the clothes of the broken map are worn by fools and heretics. The map is an exit for laziness. It is the dusty tongue, which is to say, the given chart that most take as a story that is complete. No word is true until it is eaten. The ending of the words is Omsivi. So, this referring to the Elder Scrolls. No word is true until it is eaten. Okay. Though Vivec did sorta help with the creation of the city, since Vec and Set are both part of Omsivi, but he gets to because he's a god and can rewrite history. That is true. Sort of. Vivec is all about how there is no truth but your own. I agree with that as well. Let me behead Neloth again. There we go. All right. Damn, we're so close. We're so close. This feverish nightmare is almost over. All right. Sermon 28. 6 more to go. Then Vivec left Set to look after the Domehead Demon and went back to the space that was not a space. So Domehead Demon being the Clockwork City, or at least the what would become the Clockwork City, perhaps. Yeah, the 36 there we go. The 36 lessons of Vivec take place in a secondary timeline that Vivec created. It both happened and didn't. Dragon breaks are weird. Indeed they are. They're wild as shit. Then Vivec left Set to look after, the Ruddy Man's here, the Domehead Demon, and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provisional house, he looked into the middle world to find the fifth monster, the Ruddy Man. When the dregs ruled the world, the Daedroth Prince Molag Bal, excuse me, had been their chief. He took a different shape then, spiny and armored, and made for the sea. Vivec, in giving birth to the many spawn of his marriage, had dropped an old image of Molag Bal into the world, a dead carapace of memory. It would not have been a monster if a Velothi child had not wanted to impress his village by wearing it. The Ruddy Man of the 8 monsters was the least complicated. He made those who wore him into mighty killers and nothing more. He existed in the physical. Only geography made him special. When Vivec found him near the boys' village, Coal Cave, Anon-Nissus, or Nisus, or however you say it, I always say Nissus, there was a violent clash of arms and an upheaval of the earth. Their battle created the West Gash. Wanderers that still go there hear still the sounds of it. Swords across the crust, the grunt of God, snapping of his monsters, the child's splintered legs. The snapping of his monsters' child's splintered legs. After his victory, Vivec took the shell of the Ruddy Man to the dregs that had modified his mother. The Queen of Dregs, whose name is not easy to spell, was in a period of self-incubation. Her wardens took the gift from Vivec and promised to guard it from the surface world. This is the first account of dregs being liars. Her wardens took the gifts from Vivec and promised to guard it from the surface world. This is the first account of dregs being liars. Okay. In 10 years, the Ruddy Man appeared again, this time near Tyr, worn by a wayward shaman, who followed the House of Troubles. Instead of guarding it, the dregs had imbued the living armor with mythic inflexibility. It molted soon after, skill draping the shaman, and stretched his bones to the 5 corners. When Vivec met the monster in battle again, he saw the remains of 3 villages dripping from its feet. He took on his giant form and slew the Ruddy Man by way of the symbolic collage. Since he no longer trusted the Altmer of the Sea, Vivec gave the carapace of the monster to the devout and the loyal mystics of the Number Room. He told them, You may make of the Ruddy Man a philosopher's armor. The mystics began by wrapping one of their sages in shells, a series of flourishes by 2 supranumerates, one hormonally tall and the other just under his arms. They ran around the carapace and through each other, applying holy resin drawn from the carcasses of the now useless numbers between 12 and 13. Golden straws were quickly stuck through the mythic epidermals, so the sage could breathe. After the ceremonial etchings were drawn into the hardening resin, long lists of dead names and equations whose solutions were to be found in the mouths of the chimer inside. There came the illuminations inscribed by the bright, terrible fingernail of Vivec. From the nail's tip flowed a searing liquid, filling the grooves of the ceremonial etchings. They bled out to form the veined patterns of the sage shell that theologians would decipher forever after. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. Okay, so that was a bit to unpack there. The Ruddy Man is the part of Vivec that during his mortal life committed war crimes in the war against the Nords. Interesting. Basically, the part of Vivec that just loved killing and violence when he was a mortal. Okay. The Mystics of the Number Room, is that the Sijic Order? That is probably it. Again, you pose it as a question, and you're probably right. Yeah. I've read Sermon 29 before, actually. But yeah, so the Ruddy Man is basically an interpretation, an ideal of Vivec from whenever he was more bloodthirsty and all that. And he slew him, but not really, because he came back and then he slew him. But in ESO, the Ruddy Man does come back. Elder Scrolls Ruddy Man. As we can see, well, actually, no, this is Morrowind, actually. Ruddy Broodmother. Oh, hold up, what? Wait, no, this is still... No, this is ESO, actually. In Circa, a dreg known as the Ruddy Broodmother began terrorizing the roads and buoyant armiger alike. The Maze Crim and Erebanassium, Noon, the Vestige, with the help of the group of Ashlanders, slew it. Ashlanders denied its existence, claiming that the Broodmother was simply a powerful and cunning dreg. The buoyant armigers considered the thought of the beast being the Ruddy Man borderline heresy. The captain of the buoyant armigers at the time suggested that if the Ruddy Broodmother truly was related to the creature of legend, that it might be a lesser creature cut from the same cloth as the Ruddy Man. So it wasn't the Ruddy Man specifically, but in ESO we do face the spawn of the Ruddy Man. So yeah. Anywho, Sermon 29 is just a bunch of shit that I really don't feel like saying. Especially because the numbers make sense because the numbers translate to something that I forgot. But I can easily look up. And I'll look it up. But yeah, so I'm not going to read all of that, especially because the numbers don't specifically relate to the individual thing. Like the serpent referring to, never mind, doesn't refer to what I was thinking of. But it just refers to a lot of things that we know, the wheel, the orbis, the heavens, the constellations, the lunar lattice, the Khajiit, and all that. Lol, the Ashlanders deny it because they don't believe in the tribunal and therefore think the 36 lessons is nonsense. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to be reading this stuff, but I will read the ending of it. The presence of deaf witness. This is what the numbers are. They hang on to the orbis as the last nostalgia of their godhood. The effigies of numbers are their current applications. This is folly, as above. To be affixated to a symbol is too certain. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. Is there maybe a Gemantia connection, since Michael K. was into real-life Christian lore? I don't know what gematria is, so I would have no idea personally. Let me look it up. Gematria. Unless it's like a porn thing, that would be pretty pretty awkward. Oh, 666, I see. My name value. I don't know what gematria is. The Bible say about gematria. Christian Bible says nothing about gematria. The term gematria comes from the Greek. It seems like this just deals with geometry. I'm not sure what gematria is, but yeah. Anyways. But if we do look into Sermon 29 closer, If you associate each of the 35 listed numbers with a word in its respective sermon, a hidden message is revealed. He was not born a god. His destiny did not lead him to this crime. He chose this path of his own free will. He stole the godhood and murdered the Hortator. Vivec wrote this. So yeah, that is Sermon 29. Sermon 30, boys. Let's freaking go. It's an old system of spirituality and numbers as far as I know, but I never got too much into it. Okay. Gotcha. Here we are. Then Vivec left the mystics of the number room and went back to the space that was not a space from the provisional house. He looked into the middle world to find the sixth monster called City Face. I've heard of City Face before. He was vexed when he could not find it, and went back to the morning hold in secret anger, killing a mystic that asked about higher order. Okay. Nerevar, the Hortator witnessed this and said, "Why do this, my lord? The mystics look to you for guidance. They work to make your temple better stoned." Vivec said, "No one knows that I am." The Hortator nodded and went back to his studies. What the fuck? He just killed a guy. Here is how City Face hid... Wait, hold up. In secret anger, killing a mystic that asked about higher order. No one knows what I am. I'm not sure what that means. Vivec has a guilty conscience about foul murder because he is part of Alm Civi that doubts. Yeah, definitely. All right. Here is how City Face hid from his mother-father. It had been born named as Ha-Note. I'm just going to assume that's how you say it. Excuse me. A bare urge of power, an esoteric wind nerve tuned to the frequency of huddled masses. It found root in villages and multiplied, finding in the minds of the settled, veiled astrology, the star charts of culture, and this resonance made its head swim. Ha-Note moved sideways into the adjacent place, growing and unbeknownst. Above the vocal, it trembled with new emotions, immortal ones, absorbing more than the 30 known to exist in the middle world. When Ha-Note became gravely homesick, the Grabbers took it. The Grabbers, once again. That's such a wild name, just Grabber. If you really just like think about it from our context, just a real world common context, it's such a weird word. The stones of the church in the New Testament are the believers in Christ. So the mystic Vivec kills is a stone of the tribunal temple. The stones are believers in Christ. So Vivec didn't kill an actual mystic. Wait. Why do this, my lord? The mystics look to you for guidance. They work to make your temple better stoned. So he just kind of broke his temple a little bit. Believers in Christ. So this mystic Vivec kills is a stone of the tribunal temple. So he didn't actually kill a mystic. Okay. All right. Yeah, again, metaphorical. I got to keep remembering that. It's metaphorical. Anyways. Here is how... All right, I already read that. A grabber said, "New emotions to the lonely occur only of madness. This thing is gone. It is now ours." Wait, no, Vivec totally killed a dude. Probably many people who disagree with his theology. This could even refer to purging the dissident priests. Ah. So he did fucking murder a guy. Okay, but this mystic didn't actually refer to... The mystics look to you for guidance. They work to make your... But this was... Okay. Killed a dude. Probably many people who disagree with his theology. This could even refer to purging the dissident priests. So this could just be a guy that disagreed with him, maybe? I don't know. I got no clue there. Alright, so Vivec killed a guy. And now we're going to learn about how city faiths hid from Vivec. New emotions to the lonely occur only of madness. This thing is gone. It is ours now. Grabbers had never made a city of their own, and their glimpse of Vivec's, which shone with holiness through all the spheres, had taken their attention. Under this reason did Vivec issue a Vec slide into our realm. Drawn by our coveting, hidden in loss, we shall build our tower hope upon its face. Now many years had passed in Resdania, and the high priests of the Dwemer were building something alike as Vivec and alike as the new Hanote of the Grabbers. The Hortator was engaged with an army of theirs that had become too brave, talking foolish words, and Nerevar helped to destroy them with the help of the Orphan Legion of Aem. When he went to give trophy to Vivec, he saw his lord under attack by the city face. The monster was saying this: "Here we are to replace your city, Vec and Vec. We are from the place of the more than known emotions, and our citizenry has died from it. Two things we came for, but can stay for only one. Either we ask you to correct our error of culture, or merely take yours by dint of force. The second is easiest, we think." Vivec sighed. "You would replace my direction, he said. I weary of this. Though I wanted to kill you an age before, Resdania is fallen ill, and I have no time for one more imaginary analogy of an unknown incident. Here, take this." At which he touched the tower hope of the city face and corrected the errors of the Grabbers. "And this!" At which he stabbed the heart of the city face with the ethos knife, which is to say, rect arche a ia altadun I, the short blade of proper commerce. The ending of the words is Alm Civi. So Vivec killed city face. Damn. All right. Many more years passed in Resdania, and the high priests of the Dwemer were almost ready to make war on the rulers of Veloth. Okay. The Hortator had become the husband of Aem during this time, and the first saint of the Triune Way. Vivec had tired of fighting his sons and daughters, and so took a respite from trying to find them. The Hortator said to his wife, "Where is Vivec, my teacher? I love him still, though he grows cold. His laminations, if I may call them that, have changed the skin of the whole country. He is hardly to be found anywhere in Veloth of late. The people grow dark because of it." And Aem took mercy on her troubled husband and told him that the sword of the Triune had been fighting minor monsters stirred up by the Dwemer as they worked on their brass siege machines. She took the Hortator inside her and showed him where his master was. Olm Civi, or at least that aspect that chose to be Vivec, sat in the litany hall of the false thinking, Boethia, temple. After his battle with the flute and pipe ogres of the West Nash, he began writing again in his Book of Hours. He had to put on his water face first. That way he could separate the bronze of the old temple from the blue of the new, and write with happiness. Second, he had to take another feather from the big moon, further rendering it dead. That way he could write about mortals with truth. Third, he recalled the pomegranate banquet, where he was forced to marry Molag Bal with wet scriptures to cement his likeness as Mephala, and write with black hands he wrote, "The last time I heard his voice, showing the slightest sign of impatience, I learned to control myself and submit to the will of others. Afterwards, I dared to take on the sacred fire and realized there's no equilibrium with Etada. They were liars, lost roots, and the most I can do is to be an interpreter into the rational. Even that fails the needs of the people. I sit on the mercy seat and pass judgment, the waking state, and the phase aspect of innate urge. Only here can I doubt in this book, written in water, broadened to include evil. Then Vivec threw his ink on this passage to cover it up for the lay reader and wrote instead, hang on one second, I'm going to drink. Find me in the blackened paper, unarmored, in the final scenery. Truth is, like my husband, instructed to smash, filled with procedure and noise, hammering, weighty, heaviness made schematic, lessons learned only by a mace. Let those that hear me then be buffeted, something. And let some die, the dissonant priests, in the ash from the striking. Let those that find him murdered by illumination, pummeled like a traitorous house, because if an hour is golden, then immortal, I am a secret code. I am the partaker of the doom drum. Chosen of all those that dwell in the middle world to wear this crown, which reverberates with truth. And I am the mangling Messiah. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. In the Bible, the mercy seat is the Ark of the Covenant, which is also God's throne. Bro, I need to whip out, hold up one second, I'll be right back. I'm gonna whip out my Bible real quick. Hey, watch him again. This is my holy Bible. This is my holy Bible right here. Hang on one second. All right. Time to brew Canis Root tea. Yeah, I don't really know why. I have a soldier's psalm in here that my father gave me because he was in the military. Yeah, I really do. What page was I on, actually? This is a bookmarker. I was on Jeremiah 29. You know what? I think I'm going to start reading the Bible. Not even out of like a religious sense, but just there's so much dust on this. I have not picked this up in probably like 5 years. I'm not even kidding. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna put this, hey, Noah, hold this Bible. All right. Do 3 Hail Marys for me. All right. 2 Our Fathers. Revelations is a wild book, definitely. Where is Revelations? I'm curious. Where's Revelations in here? I have another bookmarker. What's this for? Oh, this is my dad's name and all of our information, so I'm not going to show you that. Book of Revelations. Where's that? There's Romans, Corinthians, the Philippians, Timothy, Hebrew. All right. Let's go from the beginning. God, I have so many bookmarkers. Psalms, Kings, Samuel, Judges, Joshua, Numbers, Leviticus, Exodus, Genesis. Damn it, where is... Revelations is the end of the New Testament. Last book of the Bible? Last book? Oh, shit, you're right. It is. I really shouldn't be swearing when I'm holding the Bible. Yeah, you're right. I'm reading Revelations now. Or it's right here. Yeah, I'm gonna read this. I chill out at my my college in an office with a bunch of other guys, and I think when I'm not doing anything, I think I'm just straight up gonna read the Bible. Maybe not through here because it's very one-sided because it's at the end, but I'll probably read it on my laptop actually, but yeah. Yeah, I want to do that now. I'm curious in the mystique and all that. Who knows? Maybe I'll be Catholic again. Anyways. All right. All right. Anyways, Sermon 31 we're on. We already read 31, actually. Yeah, we already read 31. So we're on 32. Well, first of all, Almsivi set in the Lintney Hall of Boethia. And so this was Vivec basically taking a break from his murder and then goes to murder ogres. Book of Hours. And then he thought back on his whenever he was with Molag Bal, wet scriptures to cement his likeness, and write with black hands, write with the Morag Tong. So yeah, this is basically a reflection piece, I guess. Okay. There we go. Now you can see my boy. It's fine if you can barely see, if you only see like half of me. So yeah. So this is the part. So find me in the blackened, let those that hear me then be buffeted. Let some die, being the dissident priests. So let some die in the ash from the striking. Let those that find him murdered by illumination pummeled like a traitorous house. Because if an hour is golden, then immortal I am, a secret code. I am the partaker of the doom drum. Okay, so this is him, like, foreboding to him murdering Nerevar and taking the Doom Drum for himself, I think. Of course, there's a Neloth, a cardboard cutout of Neloth. Oh, absolutely! Look at this man! You think I wouldn't have him? Oh, yeah. Oh, indeed I do have a cardboard cutout. Anyways, so yeah, this seems like it's just Vivec reflecting on everything, taking a break from, killing his kids, which, fair enough. And then also alluding to all of this, I think. I wonder how the water references connect to the theory that the water in the Elder Scrolls is a symbol of knowledge, especially forgotten knowledge, or maybe it is a symbol for time. I don't know. Water, from what I can tell, is memory. Water is basically memories. And yeah, there's probably more to water than just that. I would love to I actually think making a video where it's just called The Water in the Elder Scrolls or something like that. Something a bit more clickbaity. I think that would actually do numbers, and I could talk about shit like this. That'd be fun. But yeah, I think water is supposed to be memories, but it could also be knowledge. Again, Hermaeus Mora is very interconnected with water, as well as forests and stuff like that. And he's knowledge and all that, so yeah. Or at least he perverts it. All right, Sermon 32. The scripture of the mace, first. The pleasure of annihilation is the pleasure of disappearing into the unreal. All those that would challenge the sleeping world will seek membership in this movement. I denounce the alienation of the cloven duality with a hammer. Perhaps the hammer of Eloth. Second, take from me the lesson as a punishment for being mortal. To be made of dirt is to be treated as such by your jailers. This is the key and the lock of the Daedra. Why do you think they escaped the compromise? Third, Velothi, your skin has become pregnant darkness. So have the Velothi become, have the Chimer become Dunmer now? Because this has been mentioned before, Ashen skin. So I'm curious if that has happened. But I feel like the War of Red Mountain has yet to happen and the ascension of the Tribunal. So I think it's more alluding to what's going to happen rather than it has happened. Unless it's happening right now. I'm not sure. Velothi, your skin has become pregnant darkness. My brooding has brought this on. Remember that Boethia... Yeah, I think it was mentioned a few sermons ago. Yeah, it was. I'm curious, like, if it's, like, what the meaning of that was, if it was illusion or not. My brooding has brought this on. Remember that Boethia asked you to become the color of bruise. How else to show yourself people of the exodus into the vital? Pain. Fourth, the sage who is not an anvil, a conventional sentence and nothing more. By which I mean dead. They have not turned Dunmer yet. That happens at the end of Sermon 36. You are correct. Vivec is foretelling the Chimer becoming the Dunmer, but is taking credit for doing it himself. Gotcha. Fifth, a proper comprehension of the virtues, stage managed and to be murdered. Sixth, in the end, rejoice, as a hostage released from the drumming torment, but that savors his wound. The drum breaks, and you find it to be a nest of hornets, which is to say, your sleep is over. Seventh, the suspicion is spectacle, and the lie is only a theoretical inspiration. Eighth, but then why, you ask, do the Daedra wish to meddle with the Orbis? It is because they are a radical critique, essential as all martyrs, that some are more evil than others in not an illusion, or rather, it is a necessary illusion. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. So this is the scripture of the mace, basically talking about, basically foretelling all of that. Vivec loves to take credit for shit, just like he pretends the Numidium is based on him and not the other way around. This is all part of him trying to mantle the Numidium / Lorcan, but he fails. Interesting. I see. Sermon 33. Woo boy! Here we go. 3 more left. Damn. We're almost done. It's getting sad. Then Vivec left the litany hall of the false-thinking temple, where he had brooded for so long, creating the scripture of the pounding light, and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provisional home, he looked into the middle world to find the 7th monster called Lie Rock. I forget, was it 8 or 9 monsters, and one of them was him? Or maybe it was... Yeah, I forget if it was 8 or 9. Yeah, I'll find out. We'll find out. The story will tell me. The ending of the words is Om Sivi is basically like saying amen, right? Basically, I would say that. 8, I think. Gotcha. So this is the last one, but he's the 8th. So yeah. Lie Rock was born of Vivec's second aperture and was thrown out of the pomegranate banquet by a member of the Sweeps, were guild of broom handlers who were well compensated for sweeping up ash that fell. Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Another forgotten guild. The sweep did not take it for the monster that it was, and so he did not expect to fly from his hand and into the heavens. I was born of golden wisdom and powers that should have forever been unalike. With this nature, I am invited into the hidden heaven, by which he meant the scaled blanket made of not stars, whose number is 13. Lie Rock became full of foolishness, haggling with the void ghost, who hides in the religions of all men. Lorcan. The void ghost said, "Stay with me a full 100 years, and I will give you a power that no divinity will dare disobey." Kim. Wait. The void ghost. The void ghost being Sithis, maybe? Is Sithis saying this shit? I'm confused now. Left the litany hall from the provisional house. Lie Rock. The sweep. Did not. I am... Fry. Or maybe this is, Raleigh the Guar is the key to all of this. Yes, I think Raleigh the Guar. I have so many things. I know. We can watch the fucking... What video? What thing is it? There was a YouTube video on Raleigh the Guar. I'm a bad person for not remembering his name. I know I'm subscribed to him, so I'll find it eventually. What's his name? What's his name? I can't. Magic Media. Magic Media made a video about Raleigh the Guar, which I can't find for the life of me. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I just find him adorable. Haha. Yeah, no, he's got some fucking secrets, all right? Look, like, Raleigh the Guar. Like, just listen. Raleigh says nothing to you at this time. Raleigh seems about to speak, but then he thinks better of it. Raleigh gazes at you with soulful eyes, but says nothing. Raleigh, being a deep thinker, has no words for now. Raleigh thinks twice and says nothing. There's shit going on with Raleigh, all right? There is something going down with him. I'm loving your long-form breakdown of the lessons, by the way, bro. Still loving the last live. No problem, man. Raleigh doesn't speak. What? Lol. Yeah, he doesn't speak. He chooses. He chooses not to speak. That is the important thing to understand here. He decides not to. But he could. But he realizes in his deep thinking that he shouldn't. Love is law, love under will. I remember that line too from Fudge Muppet. Yeah. I actually want to look that up. Love is law. Love is law. Love under will. Where does that come from? Oh, yeah, that comes from Aleister Crowley's Dilemma. Okay. Yup, it's too deep. He knows he wouldn't understand. Apparently he's standoffish about speaking. Yeah, he knows that we are way too stupid to comprehend the absolute... If anyone's going to ascend to Kim, it is Raleigh. Raleigh is Vivec, I also think. Because, damn it, I want to, like, I don't want to become, like, a React channel at all. But I also want to, like, really quickly show, like, Magic Media, yeah, Raleigh the Guar. Actually, I can't find it. Magic Media, I think it's just Kim. I forget what it is. We'll never find that video. Anyways, it's fine. I don't want to be a React tuber anyways. But yeah. Raleigh knows more than he's letting on. Oh, right, Vivec turned into a Guar during that one Shrine Lore quest, yeah. Supposedly, but he did. We know. We know. All right. Sermon 33. Wait, did I even finish this actually? I don't even think I actually finished this. Hold up. I got so sidetracked with the Void Ghost. Oh, the Void Ghost is Lorcan. Okay. So, wait. No, I already read this, did I? No, I didn't. Wait, where am I? I forgot. I lost track of where I was. Okay. Brooded for so long, pomegranate. What she meant, scaled blanket of not stars. I lost track of where I was. I need to read before I get sidetracked. Read it all. Okay, I think I was here somewhere. We're just going to read from here. I am born of golden wisdom and powers that should have forever been unalike. Which is the gods of Tamriel. With this nature, I am invited into the hidden heaven. Okay, I remember reading this. By which he meant the scaled blanket, the serpent, made of not stars. Unstars, also not stars, are the celestial objects that resemble stars but aren't. Whose number is 13. Okay, so like the standing stones and all that shit. Okay. The star signs. Lie Rock became full of foolishness, haggling with the Void Ghost, Lorcan, who hides in the religions of all men. Oh, Lorcan. The Void Ghost said, stay with me 100 years and I will... Oh, wait, I already read this. Did I? Shit. Okay, we're just going to read from here. Full 100 years, and I will give you a power that no divinity will dare disobey. But before the 100 years was up, Vivec was already looking for Lie Rock and found him. Stupid stone, Vivec said. To hide in a scaled blanket is to make a mark on nothing. His bargains are only for the ruling kings. So Vivec sent the Hortator to the heavens to shave Lie Rock asunder by the named axe. Nerevar made peace with the South Pole Star, RK, of thieving, and the North Pole Star, Akatosh, of warriors, and the Third Pole Star, Julianos, which existed only in the ether, which was governed by the apprentice of Magnus. Who's the apprentice of Magnus? Not sure. They gave him leave to wander among their charges and gave him red sight by which to find Lie Rock in hidden heaven. By chance, Nerevar met the Void Ghost first. He met Lorcan, who told him that he was in the wrong place, to which the Hortator said, "Me or you?" And the Void Ghost said, "Both." This sermon does not tell what else was said between these masters. Lie Rock, however, used this confusion to launch his own attack on the city god Vivec. He was hastened by all three of the Black Guardians who wanted him swiftly gone, though they meant no hostility to the Lord of the Middle Air. The citizenry of Vivec screamed as they saw a shooting star, Bardao, come down out of the sky like a toll road of hell, but Vivec merely raised his hand and froze Lie Rock just above the city, and then he pierced the monster with Muatra. So Lie Rock, however, uses confrontation. He was hastened and swiftly meant all shooting star. Okay, so Lie Rock was the one to bring down Bardao. I thought it was Sheogorath that did that. At least in the... Well, maybe he did. I don't know. Lie Rock equals that's it is fake news, lol. Is the apprentice of Magnus Julianus? Maybe. Or maybe Xerxes was the apprentice of Magnus. That makes more sense, I would say. The way you hear the 13 and understand immediately is talking about the standing stone star signs, lol. We're deep in the lore here, people. We really fucking are. We are so deep into it. So yeah. The practice of piercing the second aperture is now forbidden. When Nerevar returned, he saw the frozen comet above his lord's city. He asked whether or not Vivec wanted it removed. I would have done so myself if I wanted, silly Hortator. I shall keep it there with its last intention intact, so that if the love of the people of the city for me ever disappear, so shall the power that holds back their destruction, the Red Year. Nerevar said, love is under your will only. Vivec smiled and told the Hortator that he had become a minister of truth. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. That's kind of a fucked up little moment that they had. A beautiful moment that's kind of fucked up. Oh boy, we got a lot of shit going on here. All right. 34. If you ever turn against me, I'm gonna let that thing drop, lol. Basically, Bardao is an instrument of Vivec's cruel love because it will be used to cut the Dunmer into better shapes. It will create the Red Year and kill tons of them and force them to become better. The love of God is predatory is going to be a thing that comes up in Sermon 35. Interesting. The love of God is predatory. I need to write some of this shit down, actually. I'm gonna write some of this philosophical stuff down. Let me write in my notes. Philosophical stuff. Love of God is predatory. There's some other things I also want to write down, but we'll get to those later. Anyways, let us read Sermon 34, and I can't wait to see how this comes up in Sermon 35. Then Vivek left the Ministry of Truth and went back to the space that was not a space. From the provisional house, he looked into the middle world to find the eighth and final and mightiest monster, called Gulga Morjil and more. The wise must look elsewhere for this string of power. Vivek called to his side the Hortator, and this was the first time that Nerevar had been to the provisional home. Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta take a break here just to basically be like, what the fuck is the provisional home? I've been hearing Kim in the provisional home. Home automatically comes. Like, I don't know what the provisional home is. I don't know if we already talked about that, if I forgot it. Vivek then built the provisional home at the center of the secret door. From here, he could watch the age to come. Okay, so it's basically like his own, like, realm. It's like his own, like, pocket realm, we'll say. That's how I'm going to interpret it for now. He had the same vision that Vivek had so many years ago. That of the two-headed king. Oh, shit, the two-headed ruling king is Talos. Okay. So I was half wrong, but half right. The provisional house is Kim. It is also the god place that Vivek mentions when you talk to him in-game. Okay. So he ascends Kim to find his kids so he can fucking butcher them. Got it. Okay. Called to his side the Hortator, and this was the first time Nerevar had been to the provisional house. He had the same vision. Okay, so same vision from Sermon 19, which we already read. Okay, so maybe this wasn't talking about the four corners of the house. I'm not sure. That of the two-headed ruling king. When you talk to him in Morrowind, specifically, not ESO. Yeah. That's, I assumed that's what you meant. Who is that, he wondered. Vivek said, the red jewel of conquest, the Third Empire. Nerevar, perhaps because he was frightened, became vexed at his lord's answer. Why are you always so evasive? Vivek told the Hortator that to be otherwise was to betray his nature. Together they moved into the middle world, to a village near where Vivek had been found by Aim and Set. The eighth monster was there, but he did not act much like a monster. He sat with his legs in the ocean, and with a troubled look on his face. When he saw his mother-father, he asked why he should have to die and return to oblivion. Vivek told the eighth monster that to be otherwise was to betray his nature. Since this did not seem to satisfy the monster, and Vivek still had a touch of Aem's mercy, he said, the fire is mine, let it consume thee, and make a secret door at the altar of Padam, in the house of Boetia, where we become safe and looked after. The monster accepted Muathra with a peaceful look, and his bones became the foundation of the city of dead, Necrom, and Narcissus. I remember this, actually. Nerevar put away his axe, which he had at the ready, and frowned. Why, he said. Did you ask me to come if you knew the eighth monster would give in so easily? Vivek looked at the Hortator for a long time. Nerevar understood. Do not betray your nature. Answer as you will. Vivek said, I brought you here because I knew the mightiest of my issue would succumb to Muathra without argument. If only I gave him consolation first. Nerevar looked at Vivek for a long time. Vivek understood. Say the words, Hortator. Nerevar said, now I am the mightiest of your children. Let this sermon be consolation to those who read it that are destined to die. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. This is... Hold up. So this is 34, 18, something. I'm trying to find out like where it said, "Hey, I'm gonna go kill these 8 dudes." Yeah, Vivec entered morning hold. Where did he say he was gonna kill his kid? Was it 18? Oh yeah. Out of 9, you will find only 8. Though they be mighty, the last is already destroyed by your decision to create the Book of Hours. Vivek understood that AM meant himself. But did he really mean himself, or did he mean Nerevar? Because now we have this illusion here that next, the last of his kids are dead, but now Nerevar is the mightiest of his children. Let this sermon be consolation to those who read it that are destined to die. This entire book confirms to me without a shadow of a doubt that this was meant for the Nerevarine. I think. I genuinely believe that now. This is for Sermon 35. Oh, the love of God being predatory is inspired by the Bible. In Revelation, God says, "I reprove and discipline those whom I love." Revelation 3. Here we are. We're in the long stretch now. We're finally here. We're going to be learning about the aftermath. And then we'll read Sermon 37 and 0 as well, but yeah. Sermon 35. The Scripture of Love. The formulas of proper Velothi magic continue in ancient tradition, but that is, virility is dead, by which I mean at least replaced. Truth owes its medicinal nature to the establishment of myth of justice. Its curative properties it likewise owes to the concept of sacrifice. Princes, chiefs, and angels all subscribe to the same notion. This is a view primarily based on the prolific abolition of an implied profanity, seen in ceremonies, knife fighting, hunting, and the exploration of the poetic. On the ritual of occasions which comes to us from the days of the cave glow, I can say nothing more than to loosen your equation of moods to lunar currency. Later, and by that I mean much, much later, my reign will be seen as an act of the highest love, which is a return from the astral destiny and the marriages between. By that I mean the catastrophes which will come from all 5 corners. Subsequent are the revisions differentiated between hope and the distraught, situations that are only required by the periodic death of the immutable. Cosmic time is repeated. I wrote of this in an earlier life. In imitation of submersion is love's premonition, its folly into the underworld, by which I mean the day you will read about the outside of yourself in an age of gold. For on that day, which is a shadow of the sacrificial concept, all history is obliged to see me for what you are, in love with evil. To keep one's power intact at such a stage is to allow for the existence of what can only be called a continual spirit. Make of your love a defense against the horizon. Pure existence is only granted to the holy, which comes in a myriad of forms, half of them frightening and the other half divided into equal parts, purposeless and assured, cut into better shapes. Late is the lover that comes to this by any other walking way than the 5th, which is the number of the limit of this world. The lover is the highest country, and a series of beliefs. He is the sacred city bereft of a double. The uncultivated land of monsters is the rule. This is clearly unattested by Anu and his double, Padme, which love knows never really happened. Similarly, all the other symbols of absolute reality are ancient ideas ready for their graves, or at least the essence of such. This scripture is directly ordered by the codes of Mafala, the origin of sex and murder defeated only by those who take up those ideas without my intervention. The religious elite is not a tendency or a correlation. They are a dogma complemented by the influence of the untrustworthy sea and the governance of the stars, dominated by the center at the center by the sword, which is nothing without a victim to cleave unto. This is the love of God, and he would show you more. Predatory, but at the same time instrumental to the will of critical harvest. A scenario by which one becomes as he is, of male and female, the magic hermaphrodite. Mark the norms of violence, and it barely registers, suspended as it is by treaties written between the original spirits. This should be seen as an opportunity, and in no way tedious, though some will give up, for it is easier to kiss the lover than become one. The lower regions crawl with these souls, caves of the shallow treasures, meeting in places to testify by way of extension, when love is only satisfied by a considerable, incalculable effort. The ending of the words is Om Sivi. The love of God being predatory is inspired by the Bible. In Revelations, God says, I reprove and discipline those whom I love. Sermon 34 is Vivec killing the part of himself that mourns for his mortal death, and the part of him that mourns for killing Nerevar, and for killing many past Nerevarines while a god. If we view Red Mountain, Axis Mundi, as the fifth corner of the world, then the catastrophes that become from all five corners is the eruption of Red Mountain in the Red Year. God's predatory love is also inspired by Herbert's God Emperor of Dune, where the God Emperor, Leto II, views himself as the predator of his people. He means this in an evolutionary sense. God, I really need to watch Dune 2. I watched Dune 1. It was okay. I think I would need to watch it again, but I really do need to see Dune 2. Okay. So this is kind of like his explanation, in a sense, going on about how love is predatory and killing himself, killing a part of himself, I should say. And here we are, the final sermon, 36. For those were the days of Resdania, when Chimer and Dwemer lived under the wise and benevolent rule of the Almsivi and their champion the Hortator, though the Dwemer had become foolish and challenged their masters. Out of their fortresses they came with a golden ballistae. Okay. They came with golden ballista that walked in mighty Atronachs and things that spat flames and things that made killing songs. Their king was Dumak Dwarf King, but their high priest was Kagrenak the Blighter. Under mountains and over them the war with the Dwemer was raged, and then came the northern men to help Kagrenak, and they brought Izmir again. Leading the armies of the Chimer was the slave that would not perish, the Hortator Nerevar, who had traded his axe for the Ethos knife. He slew Dumak at Red Mountain, and saw the Heartbone for the first time. Men of brass destroyed the 11 gates of the Morning Hold, and behind them came the Dwemeri architect of Tone. Eam threw down her cloak, and became the face-snaked queen of the 3-in-1. those that looked upon her were overcome by the meanings of the stars. Under the sea, Set stirred and brought the army he had been working on in castles of glass and coral. Clockwork dregs, mockeries of the Dwemer war machines, rose up from the seas and took their counterparts back beneath, when they were swallowed forever by the sea. Red Mountain exploded as the Hortator went too far inside, seeking the Sharmat. Dwemeri High Priest Kagranak then revealed that which he had built in the image of Vivec. It was a walking star, which burnt the armies of the Triune and destroyed the heartland of the Veloth, creating the inner sea. Each of the aspects of the Almsivi then rose up together, combining as one, and showed the world of the sixth path. Aem took from the star its fire, Set took from it its mystery, and Vivec took from its feet, which had been constructed before the gift of Molag Bal, and destroyed the manner of truth by a great hammering. When the soul of the Dwemer could walk no more, they were removed from the world. Resdania was no more. It had been redeemed of all its iniquities of foolish. The Almsivi drew nets from the beginning place and captured the ash-red mountain, which they knew was the blight of the Dwemer, and that would serve only to infect the whole of the middle world and aid it. Altadun Dunmeri. The beginning of the words is Almsivi. I give you this as Vivec. And we just read the 30, well, I mean, we probably should interpret it, but we just read the 36 lessons of Vivec. I just read it. You tagged along as well. And some of you were along for the whole ride. Some of you were along for some of it. Doesn't matter. We did it. We've done what hundreds of thousands of people could not. We gritted our teeth, bared our minds, steeled our nerves, and went through it. And I'm proud. I'm very proud of what we accomplished. But let's read some things. Dumak Dwarf Orc, not Dwarf King. Critical difference. Oh, their king was Dumak Dwarf Orc. I was mistaken. You're right. The 5 songs of King Wulfharth also refer to Dumak as King Dumalakath the Dwarf Orc. I remember Fudge Muppet talking about that. So the Nordic and Dunmer accounts of the Battle of Red Mountain agree on this one weird point. Thank you so much for doing this. Sorry for clogging up the chat. No, do not apologize. I needed a lot of hand holding with a lot of this. So no, I do not apologize whatsoever. I need guidance for all this shit. I would not have been able to comprehend some of these things. Through the power of Canis Root Tea, indeed. But that isn't it. Even though we have just read it all. I will say, I was hoping that it would mention something of Nerevar. I mean, it kind of did, I guess. I don't know. I thought that it would mention Nerevar. I mean, it did, obviously, but it never really mentioned his death, I should have probably prefaced. But yeah, no, that is... Yeah. Dwemer would only serve to infect the whole. I mean, Vivec doesn't know what happened to the Dwemer, obviously. Because if we ask about the Dwemer sin was the creation of a new god, substance of dead god Lorcan. Can we ask about the disappearance of them? I have no idea what happened to the Dwemer. I have no sense of them in the timeless divine world outside of mortal time, and in fact, if I did believe they existed, I would be in no hurry to make contact with them. they may with some justice hold the Dunmer race responsible for their fate. My intuition is that they are gone forever, and that is perfectly fine with me. Raleigh. Altadun Dunmeri is the only time that the word Dunmer is ever said in the 36 lessons. So the beginning of the Dunmer is Almsivi. Nice. I like that, actually. This was intense. I understand so much less about the sermons now than before reading it, and I'm really glad. Well, thanks. This is really interesting and fun. Gotta go now. It's 3 a.m. here. Oh, shit. Yeah, no. No, I completely understand. Godspeed. Godspeed. And always remember that the ending of the words is Almsivi. So now, because we're here, so fuck it, we should probably read Sermon 0 and 37, because I know of their existence. So, Elder Scrolls Sermon 37. Not like it's like a much. I don't know what comes first, 37 or 0, but yeah. We'll have to re-listen to the past hour or do sometime. Miss some of it due to the app crashing. Oof. Sorry about that. Not being able to hear some of the lessons over my motorbike. That's fair. The 36 lessons feels like a series essays written by a shut-in high school kid with little real-world experience, but a wealth of their mom's trashy romance novels, but in a good way. Hopefully my earbuds don't die. Oh, this Coda stuff? I don't think this is Coda. No, I wouldn't say so. Because Coda is like a separate thing, but it's related. Definitely like related to it all, I would say. It reads like someone gets off to the King James Bible in Crowley. Yeah. All right, so now we have the 37th lesson of Vivec. And so I'm curious what all of this says. Well, actually, what came first before I actually read it? 37 or 0? What came first? An analysis. Well, maybe if I just type in Sermon 0, did they both just come? No, Sermon 0 was just okay, Sermon 0 is a Michael Kirkbride thing, actually. Okay, Sermon 0 seems more like that. Okay. Interesting. So, I'm assuming this is where we find Sermon 0? But it's not even made by Michael Kirk. Well, wait, this is a strange and offensive document about Vivec provided by the Khajiit trader Jobasha. Oh, shit. Okay, so Sermon 0 isn't really even made by Vivec. It's made by fucking Jobasha, actually. I'm assuming. About Vivec provided by... Okay, so this doesn't even count. Fascinated by this document and tried to decipher the secret behind the cipher. They succeeded. You can no, the result of it all. Okay, I don't know what... Alright, we're just going to read Sermon 37. I'm going to ignore 0 because there's... I don't know what the hell that's about, actually. Yeah, it seems like that this is just from the Khajiit Jobasha making fun of shit. So, 3-7. So let us read Sermon 37. You have discovered the 37th sermon of Vivec, which is a bending of the light, long past the chronicles of the Hortator who wore inconsistent faces, and ruled however they would until apocalypse. Vivec was born by ribbons of water, which wrote their stalwart couplings in red. This was a new place of speed. His eyes broke on the spikes above the tower, where the void ghost squatted over a drake-scaled drum, imbecile in its rhythm, and he asked of it, "Who are you?" that need no signature at all. 3 in sum, the robes of Aeon stretched towards the bright black rim of memory, roping an arc of purchase. This was a new sprinting task, and Set held his swollen belly to its name, Clockmaker's Daughter. Oh yeah, I forgot Set's pregnant. Swimming the dead confession along a century of thread. Naming her, uneaten, a golden cache of Veloth and Velothi. For where else would they go? Go here, with world without wheel, charting 0 deaths and echoes singing. Holy shit, this is in ESO linking to Coda. Perhaps I really do need to read Coda, actually. Set said, until all of it was done, and in the center was anything whatever. And the red moment became a great howling unchecked, for the provisional house was in ruin. And Vivec became as glass, a lamp, for the dragon's mane had broke, and the red moon bade him come. The sign of royalty is not this. A signal blue shift female told him, there is no right lesson learned alone. You should read Coda on stream. Perhaps I should. He refused the twine on her catching net, spiteful that an uncontinued person would not become fuller by their searching, and yet were racked in their spirit for flight. But the male signals were offended, and Vivec took a fighting form. He undid the eastern light, saying to the Almcivi that through war they had become brides in glass, which no power could observe. The light bent, and Vivec donned a cuirass made of red plates of jewel, and a mask that marked him born in the lands of man. Wheeling, he spread into an insect salve, worn on the neck of his hissed bulbs, when at challenge. He roared up and fed his fingers to mammoth ghosts. The signal fires wondered if they mistook this for surrender, for Vivec had told the void that he could learn to undo it all. The light bent, and somewhere a history was finally undone of it. Vivec remembered the laughing of the Netchmen of his village when the hunts were good. He marched with his father in the ash, growing strong in the hooks and sail, able to run a junk through silt. At 11, he sung to an ashcan. He became sick after Red Mountain, with the Nyx blood and fever, and was infirm 100 years. His mother survived him and laid his body at the altar of Padam. She gave him her skin to wear into the underworld. The light bent, and Vivec awoke and grew fangs, unwilling to make of herself a folding thing. This was a new lunar promise, and in her biting, she tunneled up and then downward, while her brother and sister smeared across heaven thin ruptures of descent, food for scarabs and the worm. She took her people and made them safe, and sat with Azura, drawing her own husband likeness in the dirt. What the fuck? Own husband. Oh, okay, so this is still Coda. For I have removed my left hand and my right, he will say, she said. For that is how I shall win against them. Love alone, and you shall know only mistakes of salt. The ending of the words is Amaranth. And that is it. That is it. It's very interesting, actually. I don't really know how to interpret the 37th lesson, if I even should, if that even, like... The worm makes me think of the worm cult in Manamarco. That was my original thought as well. Yeah. We just read the 36 lessons of Vivec, and honestly, at some point, I'll probably end up reading Coda. But I don't know if I would read Coda on stream. I don't even know how you find Coda, actually. This is a good question, actually. How do you find Coda? Because, yeah, that's something I've never understood. I don't know where. Vivec's husband is also Nerevar / the Nerevarine, but yeah, it also is Coda. In the Book of Revelations, the New Jerusalem is the bride of Jesus. Look it up. Yeah, I've looked it up multiple times, but I just really could never find it. Maybe I just never looked it up properly? I don't know. Valentine's Day set on... Well, that's just describing it. Is this Coda? Is it just this script? Oh shit, Talos is here. Okay. Anyone that cuts off their hands? Okay. It's got a website. Okay. Coda websites. Oh yeah, you're right. Coda.es. Read Coda. New readers and non-The Elder Scrolls readers. You may want to refer to this okay, so it's a PDF. Interesting. Okay, I did hear that it was a graphic novel. Yeah. Actually, I just realized there might be, like, fucking in this. I don't know. I probably shouldn't really... I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from Coda, but yeah, I probably shouldn't just be clicking through it on YouTube of all things. But yeah. So yeah, that was the 36 lessons of Vivec. We have been doing it for almost 3 hours. It was a little bit shorter than the last one. I think the last one was like 3 hours and like 10 minutes or something. So yeah. I have really enjoyed this. I think Neloth has also really enjoyed this. Have you? Have you, my boy? Recite to me the 23rd lesson of Vivec. He deserved that. He didn't know how to recite it. He's a dick. But yeah, I'm definitely probably gonna read up on like the Bible and shit too now. Definitely Revelations mostly. But yeah. So I'm gonna be ending the live stream here. I don't know how to end it. I'm exhausted if I'm being honest. But yeah. So I'm gonna end it here. Thank you everyone for accompanying me on this journey, whether you're watching this live or maybe you're that one person that's watching this on the VOD on something like that and actually decided to watch the whole thing through. Neloth on Neloth violence. This is amazing. Thank you so much. No, thank you. And so, allow me to say my outro. Whew. So, with all that being said, make sure to like the like button, like the subscribe button, and like the bell notification down below to be updated on more videos and live streams. And I will see you whenever the fuck I decide to upload or live stream again. House Telvanni be with you.